Good morning. Getting started with my cup of coffee. Hey, did you know that if you put a little bit of salt in coffee, it doesn't taste quite as bitter? Coffee tastes bitter to me, but this will help. Oh, God, it didn't help. What's wrong with this? Wow. Well, it'll have to do because I need to wake up. I am at the salon. I'm the only one at the salon. It's very early. It's Thursday, and they don't come in until noon. And I had to meet a new stylist. Yes, that we just hired to get set up for when she's going to start. So while I have a minute, let's sit and talk. I have been thinking about all the different funny things in my life that I have stories. I worked for almost 5 years for Ma Bell. Anybody know what Ma Bell is? That's the old phone company, the monopoly. It was a very strict place to work. I was probably 20, maybe younger, maybe 19 when I started, and I was there until I was like 23 or so. I found it to be so much fun, which anybody else would think is very strange, very strict. I was on the switchboard taking phone calls, doing the old one ringy dingy, two ringy dingy, and you look straight ahead. You couldn't chew gum. You couldn't speak to the people next to you. I thrived on that. Put a headset on me, give me a goal. I'm good. And I needed to be the best at everything, so I would really apply myself with how many calls I could do. And I was pleasant. I was not, I was always very nice to people, but I was not the operator that you were going to get who would take extra time because we were timed. Everything was timed. And they would pull you off the cordboard if your production was not enough. I also did information. Back in the day when you called information 411, I hated information because you had to listen to people be idiots. My patience level is so much better now than it was, and I don't have a lot of patience now. One of the things we did is, because we're in Massachusetts and Nantucket and Martha's Vineyard is right, the islands are right off the coast, which, by the way, I've never been to. They're so close. I don't want to get on a boat. Anyway, we had to deal with the people on Martha's Vineyard in Nantucket, and then our locals. And in the Fall River area where we worked were all Portuguese immigrants. I didn't speak Portuguese. On the island, you had to speak Manhattan English because they all had money and thought they were too good for an operator. Fun things that happened is when they went down to look for the Andrea Doria, which is a ship that sank off the coast of Massachusetts. I was often the operator that did the ship to shore. So I always knew what was going on because I'd be talking as I'm placing the calls for them. I spoke to General Haig, who was calling the White House on an unsecure line. I don't get that. Henry Kissinger. I think that's the only celebrities or well-known people that I spoke to. One day, I got a call, and it was Edgartown. They actually had a ring down. A ring down is when they had to call and tell you to place the call like you did in the 40s and 30s, but they hadn't upgraded yet. And a guy was screaming, and I'm trying to say, "Sir, I can't understand you. Calm down, sir. Calm down." I finally get, "My daughter has a razor blade in her mouth. Call the ambulance." Okay, I'm calling now, sir. Take the razor blade out of your daughter's mouth. I'll cut my fingers. Sir, I don't care. We had somebody, it's just really. One of the girls sitting next to me had a nervous breakdown one day because she got a call from a man on parole. "Operator, I'm on parole. Place this call." I don't know why she had a nervous breakdown, but she starts waving for a supervisor and really hyperventilating. "I have a prisoner on the phone. I have somebody from prison on the phone." And it's like, what did he say? "He's on parole." And the supervisor plugs in and goes, "Can I help you?" And the guy goes, "I'm a lineman. I'm on a pole." I need her to call the office. And they very calmly usher her away. I got detained by the FBI when I was working for the phone company. When you did collect calls back in the day, and it was, I'm calling, please call for Mary person to person, which means you have to wait till Mary gets on the phone, and it's a collect call from John. Okay, simple, easy peasy. You can't wait more than, I don't remember what it was. It was definitely well less than a minute for Mary to get on the phone because they were timing you in the background. So it was a very slow day. Nothing, nobody, there were no lights flashing. And I place it, hello, I have a collect call for Mary from John. Person said they'll go get Mary. So I'm on the phone. Mary's taking, now it's a minute. And I stay on the phone. Finally, I don't know how long it was, but Mary gets on the phone. Will you accept the charges from John? Yes, I will, operator. All right, so you have to just click off. And I go on about my business. But I was very proud of myself because I went above and beyond for John. Because I should have said, I'm sorry, John, Mary's not coming to the phone. You'll have to try again. But there were no lights flashing. So, goodness of my heart. 20 minutes later, and this is a long board. It's, probably 100 feet. Here comes the supervisors, who were stern older women. And she came down the board going, who just had a collect call to Mary from John? And me, me, oh my God, they realized I did something above and beyond. I am special. And she said, please step off the board, which you never did. And I followed her into a room, and she said, you're being detained until the FBI gets here. What? You listened in on an undercover drug call. Wonderful. No, I didn't. I stayed on the line until Mary accepted the charges. The gentleman placing the call said, you stayed on the phone. Yes, I did, until Mary accepted the charges. And I had to sit in that office until a representative from the FBI got there to question me. I had to call my husband and say, I can't come home. I've been detained by the FBI. Who? Who has these things happen? I love my job. So my life has always been this way. It's just Margaret being Margaret. You guys have a great day. I'll talk to you later.